The champ is here.
We will definitely not shut up and dribble.
The champ is here. I must be the greatest. The champ is here.
I'm going to continue to stand with the people.
The champ is here.
I will not lose.
I'm a bad man. I took up the world.
Yes. Welcome. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you are here with we. My name is EJ, and I got my man.
Hey, mate.
He is the DB of the show. We are Black in Sports, giving a voice to the culture that won't shut up and dribble. Here interviewing the best professionals in the game and in the boardroom. Covering it all, laughing at all, while providing a platform to be heard. So you know what we do about this time. I got to welcome our guests, all right? So today, we're going to get into our guest story. And we're going to find out why he feels that everyone has a story and he wants to get to know yours. All right. So motivational speaker, Mike Philogene. Did I get that right?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
let's clap it up. Let's clap it up for Mike Philogene. Let's clap it up. All right. So how we start the show, man, is we ask you to give us a shoot your shot moment. All right. This is a moment in time. It could be a brief story of, you know, where you went for it all. You shot your shot. You bet on yourself. And you made things happen, man. It could have been a win or lose situation. You could have shot the shot, and someone else had to screw up the rebound. But give us a shut your shot moment.
Shut your shot moment.
Uh-oh.
When I took the shot to start believing in myself
Okay.
in life, we all have decisions. We all have choices to make. And it's crazy that, you know, we'll bet on somebody. We'll bet on a lottery. But we never bet on ourselves. And that's how special and unique we are as individuals. All of us got something great to bring to the table. So I decided to start betting on myself. And even though I didn't know what the outcome was going to be in the beginning, I stuck with it. And eventually the shots start falling. So that's a raw moment of betting on myself.
Look at that. Out the gate.
I like it.
That's where we going right here with it. I love it.
So you said your shots start falling. Sports-wise, was there a love for sports that originated, your foundation? Where was that? Where did that start at?
Yeah, it was a love for sports, but didn't put in the time to be great.
Okay.
So, you know, I was born in Miami, Florida. I came out here in Las Vegas when I was 6 years old. My parents are two immigrant parents from Haiti.
Okay.
You know, so my first language was Creole, French Creole.
Yeah.
I did not know English. And so that started off, you know, obviously me growing up watching, you know, Michael Jordan and you know, in the late 80s and, you know, into the 90s. So that was my inspiration to obviously pursue basketball.
Okay.
Just playing around the neighborhood with my older brothers and friends outside. And I was actually talented, very talented to play the game.
Okay.
But, you know, when you get to a point, when you get older, you know, there's people that's talented in you. But also there's people that can surpass talented people by having a perseverance and a drive to want to work hard.
Right.
But I was talented, so that took me so far. And I just, you know, basketball teaches you about life too. And that's why I encourage a lot of people to play sports, in any type of sport, because it teaches you to go through adversity. You
100%.
know, and when you don't look at the scoreboard, because a lot of us look at the scoreboard in life. When we don't look at the scoreboard and you go through those adversities, you go through those challenges, when you look up, you're right back in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Man, you started off young, said you got to be great. At 5 years old, you was already like, hey, I got to be great. I'm going to lock in. I'm going to get this going. And I guess looking at Michael Jordan as the pinnacle, I guess that's where you would get that from.
absolutely. But it takes work, man. Like it takes really work. You know, I could tell you a story about, you know, former NBA player C.J. Watson. He went to Bishop Gorman. I went to Clark High School out here.
Okay.
And when I knew he was on a different level than me, is that we're at Bishop Gorman, and I'm a junior, he's a senior.
Uh-huh.
And at that time, he's the leading scorer of the whole Las Vegas region, including Reno. And I'm the second leading scorer. He's averaging about 28 points a game. I'm averaging about 26 points a game.
Okay.
So first time playing CJ, I dropped 18 at halftime. He only has 4.
Mhm.
So I'm in the locker room, my chest all out. I'm like,
Number one, what?
Number one, right?
What?
Like,
Let me
come
check
on.
them rankings.
Right.
Yeah. CJ was number 1 scoring in the Valley, right? So I'm saying CJ who?
Yeah,
Right?
Absolutely.
In the locker room,
Right.
right?
Absolutely.
And CJ always been the person that, he has the fundamentals. Like you could just tell that he was bound to make it to the NBA. So I have 18, he has 4. Second half, he drops 32. And I drop 4. So the standpoint why I'm telling you that story is that he put in the time.
Yeah.
I was just skilled. I was just really talented in
Right.
scoring the basketball, but I didn't put in the time to actually develop my game to the highest level I could.
Okay.
You know what I
Okay.
mean? And I look back and, I was nominated for McDonald's All-American basketball. I was the jock of the school, all that stuff.
Yeah, you played on a couple All-Star teams. I see you made right here.
But it was, when you come to this world, you don't know sports, kind of like put you in a box of you have to be this certain way to be successful.
Mhm.
You have to be this certain way to know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And I never knew who I was, even when I went to college. I never knew who I was because I never spent time with myself to get to know myself. And as I got done with college, I was looking back and I'm like, I'm still in the same spot that I was when I was in high school, still making the same mistakes. When I got to college, still making the same mistakes.
So what were some of those mistakes? What were you saying that were mistakes, right? Because, like, this is the thing. Within everyone's story, there's adversity and there's mistakes.
Yeah.
So if you're comfortable to share some of those, because people need to hear those.
100%. Mistakes as in like being a follower. Mistakes as in like not being bold enough to say no, not to follow the crowd. Those are mistakes.
And putting in the work, as you said, too, right?
100%. And so at that point, I'm like, okay, because a lot of people think basketball players, those are gifts that they have. They're skilled, very, very skilled because a gift never runs out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
because
care.
it's innate, right? You have that.
Oh, 8?
Innate, like it's within you.
Yes,
So innate.
for sure. So a gift, they
Got to
can't
enunciate around this one.
Kobe
Start
Bryant.
using them thesaurus. Them Scrabble words. It's in you.
Hey, Google, Siri.
No, so it's you can go to a job. Those are skills that you can learn.
Yep.
And you can enhance and put in your toolkit, but they can still fire you from a 9 to 5.
Sure enough.
They can't
1000%.
they can't never fire a gift because that's in you.
Mm.
And I started looking back and looking at the situation like, wow, basketball's over with. So I got in a dark place thinking that I wasn't good enough. I thought I was only put on this earth to be a professional athlete because us as black men, that's all we see on TV usually. Basketball player, football players, and that's it. And we limit ourselves. Drug dealers, we see that. Us shooting against each other, robbing each other, gangsters. That's all we see. And so how can we trick the mind to see something different? Start spending time with yourself.
And black in sports. No, I mean, that's one of the reasons we started, right? Because we need to see the transformation of what you can be. And we want to show, like, we do have our professional athletes and people that have played the game in the tire sports, but we definitely show we had directors and, C-level people and,
Much more to
business.
it.
It's much more to it.
100%.
So,
A lot of avenues. You can go pro in a lot of different stuff.
100%.
The NCAA's
Exactly.
only good commercial that they made a couple years ago. I think
For
that was
sure.
out when we were playing, right? Like,
Yep.
guys going pro in other things.
It happens. Most of y'all do.
100%.
So you said, like, all right, so now you're coming into, you said basketball wasn't a dream. Was that like fading as you went through the college process? Like, so you're balling out, man. You're getting the accolades in high school, and now you're going to college. So where did you end up going to college?
I went to junior college in
Sierra.
in Sacramento, California.
Okay.
A junior college, but also I'm only 6'1", so I'm not. You can find a guard anywhere that's taller than 6'1". You know what I mean? I can
Yes.
put the ball in the basket, but like I said, when it comes to working on your craft, when you like really take time to work on your craft and get better, then you can open up different avenues. But I had all schools in the country looking at me, but
Oh, wow.
obviously I didn't take school seriously either.
part of those. Got you. That was part of it too, right?
That was part of it too. But that's what I'm saying with the mistakes. So when I went to a junior college, the same schools are looking at me at a junior college, and I'm still not taking it seriously.
Right.
And so when I get done with that, I'm like, when season's over, because you do 2 years in junior college. So coach is like, so Mike, these schools are looking at you. Are you interested? Coach, I'm not going to class. So my academics not backing up what I want to do.
Right.
And so I hit another depressed state. Like, dang, like, wow. And so coach is saying, because all my mind was, no one, like, that's why it's so important to have the right people around you to speak life into you and to give you guidance.
100%.
And that's why I love LeBron James, because he's surrounded himself with people that's going to give him the right direction.
100%.
You don't need an entourage around. You need people that's going to hold you accountable, and also you need people that's going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
Right.
Right. And so coach was like, I can get you to go overseas to play basketball. But my mindset was, I thought the only way you can get to the NBA is just by going to the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know you can find talent anywhere. I can
get
get paid going overseas.
right.
But I was so stupid and naive to think that it was only one avenue, because no one was telling me this.
Yeah.
And then that's when I decided to come back home, and I still was making mistakes, kicking it on the block, chilling, not. I was afraid to go home for a long time because I didn't want people to start asking me questions. What happened, man?
Why you back here?
Right.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I was afraid. So I stayed away for a long time. I'll say like about 7 years after I got done playing sports in Sacramento, California. And then I decided to come back, and then I decided to start working on myself. And what's crazy is that I'm thankful. I really believe in my heart I could have made it to the NBA, but I'm thankful and grateful I didn't make it, because if I did make it, y'all wouldn't know the person y'all know now, because a lot of people don't work on themselves.
Right.
NBA players, there's some people in the NBA that don't know who they are still.
They're not
Just
forced
doing
to.
it. Yeah. It's just performing the skill.
That's it.
Yeah.
And when that is gone, usually 9 times out of 10, bankruptcy, start doing some crazy stuff. So it's just sometimes God tells you no. Sometimes when you want something, God will tell you no, not because you don't deserve it, because you're not ready for it. So how do you react to things when God is telling you no, when you think you're ready?
Right.
God's timing is perfect.
Right.
My timing is not.
Right.
So I'm thankful and grateful I went the long route to find my gift and my purpose on this earth, because you guys are seeing the person that is a miracle. I'm a testimony that's speaking right now that if you spend time with yourself to block out all the noise and that's around you, and people try to pull you this way and pull you that way, if you block that out, you'll get to actually come to yourself and find out yourself.
And you're making an impact on more lives than potentially you would have made playing basketball.
100%.
What was back to a basketball? Describe me your game. You say you was a scorer. What was your game like? Is there anybody that you pattern your game after? Not necessarily Michael Jordan, because he's 6'6" with huge hands.
You're right. I didn't pattern my game after MJ. I was just give me the ball and get out the way. I'm getting buckets.
Clear them out.
Clear out. Watch out.
Clear 'em out.
I'm getting bucket. And what's crazy is that I went to a junior college visit. I went to a couple of junior college, and it was Feather River College, right,
Okay.
in Quincy, California. So I
Yep.
go there, and there's a lot of people that from Las Vegas that go there.
Okay.
So I come in the gym, and I'm like, oh man, I play AAU with these cats. I really don't want to be around here, right? Right. So I come, and so the coach, me and him is talking, and he pulled me to the side, and he said, that's why one of the reasons why I didn't want to go there, even though I was a scorer, like there's certain areas and there's certain places that you're supposed to be at, right? And so this is before I made the decision to go to Sierra. And so the coach was like, yeah, Mike, I want you to know I seen your footage. I like your game and all this stuff. He said, if you see an orange rim, shoot. You know what that means, right?
Green light.
Green light.
Green light.
And I'm thinking in my head, am I the only person he's telling this stuff
Green light.
to?
That's the office. I mean, the offense, right? Like, hey, green light, just shoot them
right.
joints.
No, yeah, you was the only one. Everybody else was, hey, set the screen,
Right.
rebound,
Clear out.
box out.
That's crazy, man. But I'm thankful and grateful I went to Sierra, because my coach taught me about life. You know, when you have a coach in this game that teaches you about life, not just basketball, but
Right.
like I said, it's relatable. Sports and also life is the same thing. Adversity, you know, you're up in games, you're down in games. He always used to say, don't be a front runner. And as an 18, 19-year-old kid, you're like, what does that mean?
Right.
What does that mean?
Like, what are you talking about?
But it didn't make sense till I was done, like 22, 23. he said, and it started. I'm like, dang, coach, wow, because there's going to be information all you guys share with each other, and it might click to one person, and the other two like, I don't know what that means.
Right.
But we're so caught up in being okay with asking. What was that? Explain that to me in a way. So when he meant by front runner, that means that when you're up in games, you give your teammates dap, good shot. Yeah. Hey man, great hustle. But when you're down in games, you ain't got the same energy.
Paul George. I think Mike talking to you, Paul George.
You ain't got the same energy, and you fronting because at the end of the, you should be the same way when. That's why you can't really never tell with Tim Duncan or Kawhi Leonard if they're up or down,
right?
Because their emotions in control.
I like that. Keep that same energy.
Keep that same energy at the end of the day because your breakthrough's right around the corner.
Right.
If you stay with the game plan.
Facts.
And so that right there in itself, I don't think if I would have went to Feather River, I would have got that life lesson by my coach that I went to Sierra. And
plus, you'd have been like playing at home anyway,
right?
Because everybody was there.
100%. So, yeah, man. But my game was to just score. Like, obviously, after MJ, my favorite player was Dwayne Wade. You know, I just relate to him because of just how he went to so-called a small school, was not a McDonald's All-American, but at the end of the day, if you get a chance to get to a point, if you outwork the people that is supposed to be that people, then any blessings are just going to come to you when you work hard at something.
Right.
And you got to stick with it.
Right.
Through the ups and downs.
Right.
So, yeah.
I dig it.
So, how was it sports-wise here, like growing up in LV? And how do you think it's really going to change now, with the NHL, NFL, the way Summer League has grown and kind of, like, it's twofold, right? The kids are seeing this a little closer now, right? So how was it for you growing up here with sports, your thoughts, and then what do you think it's going to be now or that you're seeing it?
Well, Vegas really never had exposure. Obviously, we had Kevin Gaines. We had Marcus Banks, Demetrius Hunter, C.J. Watson. We had a couple of, big-time players, but they didn't get the exposure that they should have got. You know what I mean? And I think, so...
And it didn't trace all the way back here, right? Like, it just really stuck with maybe just the schools they went
100%.
To, right?
And I think now there's more exposure now to Las Vegas. Vegas is growing fast, obviously, as you guys can see that. So it's going to be great for people that are coming up the ranks in Las Vegas to really embrace this time in life. Obviously, the generation before us, I'm pretty sure they wish that they was in our generation,
right?
Because of the opportunities that's around us.
Right.
And now that I wish that I had the opportunity in the spotlight, also that generation now has that I didn't have.
You telling me?
So every generation, has its pros and its cons. Every generation has something that offer something better to offer than the previous generation. So I think it's going to be a blessing.
Nice.
It's crazy how you say that because I was just talking to my pops and I was like, bro, I wish I could have had all these resources when they were recruiting me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I feel like the old head now. All of a sudden, man. This is way off topic, bro. And I'm not coming at it weird, but I had to get this out before we get too deep in the conversation.
Okay.
I'm doing some research on you, Mike. I'm looking through IG. I look and I say, damn, that kind of look like me a little bit. Beard game cold, hat game nice, Achilles showing in some of your suit game.
Extra medium, no socks.
We're going to talk a little bit about this after off camera, but I think we can somewhere down the line, bro. Somewhere. I don't know where. I think we can, though, man.
Yeah,
could be.
Y'all done traveled everywhere. You done traveled everywhere.
hey, could be, man. Like I say, I wouldn't look past it. We could be, man. We could be.
So
ain't nothing wrong with that, man.
Hey, definitely nothing wrong. So who was your pro team kind of growing up? Like, who did you follow? Like, who was the Vegas team? Or did you like, the Bulls because Jordan was your guy?
I was a Bulls fan. I'm a native Miami. I was born there, but I rocked with MJ, man. And I started actually getting back to Miami Heat when D Wade came there, man.
Oh, that's right, because that's what you said.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
So, because I'm now more of a players guy, but I still roll with the Heat. And obviously, college basketball is Carolina. Football wise, it's the Patriots.
Hold on.
You guys can jump on it.
Let's time out right there.
No, ain't no time out. This is why. I'm gonna tell you why. Before Brady even got there, I always loved their culture and their grit and how they blue
The
card.
musket guns? You like them?
The musket gun, right? So, but I was a big fan of Brady when he was in Michigan.
Okay.
You know, and so when he got there, I didn't know he was going to be this good. Whoever says he was going to be this good is lying.
Yeah,
right.
Oh, no one,
nobody thought that.
No one thought that.
But when sports, you see, we fall in love with the story, right? We fall in love with the story that okay, 6th round draft pick 199, 4th round draft, fourth on a depth chart, right?
Right.
And he had an opportunity.
And he did something with it.
He did something with it. And you know, and all these scouts are saying too slow, don't have arm talent, all this stuff. But he worked at it.
Well, America loves the underdog, though. I mean,
and they hate people that win.
Yeah, they hate the group league. Like I
just hate him.
Why? Explain to me why.
I don't necessarily hate Tom
because he
Brady.
cheats. Oh, what?
I don't think he cheats. I think the news make it. The news.
We have to be as fake news.
No, we
Is
have
it
to,
what you going with? You going with fake news?
We have to realize this. At the end of the day, how do they make money?
Winning.
Producing.
No, they make money by making news. Like if they're not making news, they're irrelevant.
Right.
So I'm going to make news.
Okay. I mean, you can make news by winning.
Yeah, that too.
I mean, I think Jerry Jones, goes by that formula as well.
What?
How do we make news?
Oh yeah, Jerry Jones always in the news.
Everybody's American, and that's why I had to stop you because America's team is the Cowboys. So I just wanted.
Yes,
my gosh.
I wanted you to acknowledge that.
If you're worried, if you're thinking about, if you're thinking about,
don't worry about it.
If you're thinking about, obviously, the Cowboys been there for a long time. You see the American star and all this stuff. But if we're talking about the American team that. Like, so what are we based that upon? In winning, or are we based that on just?
We can't do it winning because it'd be the Steelers.
No, if we're based on winning for the last 20 years, it's the Patriots. So
who has the most rings?
Patriots and the Steelers, 6-6.
We did it first, Ray J.
Yeah, but Ray J.
We hit it first, son.
So like I said,
Brady's little brother.
Hey,
but I roll with Brady. Him going to Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay gonna win it next year. Not this year.
Next year?
Yeah.
Oh, next year?
Yeah, they're gonna have to get in the rhythm and all that stuff.
Mike, I hate to break this to you, but Tom Brady
will be no next year.
Tom Brady's 73 years old.
Yeah.
You know what they do? They go down from the Northeast and they go to the warm spot, to retire.
Right.
So
but all of us do know this, that sports now is WWE.
It's entertainment.
That's what it is.
No.
Yeah, y'all better wake up.
You smell what the rock's cooking.
Sports is entertainment, bruh. I'm telling you, sports is entertainment, man. You give a person it is, you get a favorite one. I'm telling y'all, sports is entertainment.
I mean,
man.
basketball is more entertaining. Football still.
Football is too. I guarantee if Brady played back in the time your Steelers was winning, or if that is your team, he would.
You laugh a little too hard. We heard from you in the '90s over there, so chuckles.
It's that Rocky Bly over there. Franco Harris.
Shout out to Rocky Bly and Frank. Love it. Anyway, we got totally off. Let me.
It's all good.
Bring
man.
us back. Okay, so this is part we like to call in the game, right? And so we're going to call us in the WWE tonight. So
Royal Rumble,
man. How did you get into speaking, right? So that's really your main focus right now, right?
Yes, my main focus is speaking.
So how did it's public speaking and motivational speaking? Like, give us the dynamic of how you got into that. Oh, it's deep.
Yeah, it is deep. I like I said, I went through a very tough breakthrough with the mother of my child, and obviously I had to start spending time with myself to pull off some old layers. And you get in the gym and you start working, and like I said, I've always been a person to give powerful words to uplift someone.
Okay.
But when you don't know your gift, sometimes people around you can identify your gift before you can.
Oh, that's right. I've heard you say that.
And sometimes people will start, giving you like, hey man, you good at that. Hey, you could be a speaker.
Giving you clues, huh?
Yes, because success leaves clues. And so in that process, I'm like, and I would always do videos, but my videos wasn't really like it wasn't really connecting like properly because I'll be all over the place. I'll be here and I'll be here and I'll be here. And one day at the job, a gentleman came up to me, a concierge manager came up to me like, Mike, man, the videos that you be saying is powerful, but if you can just get to the center of it, of knowing exactly and staying on course of what your message is, you could be powerful. And that's when I started asking God, is this my calling? Is this what I was put on this earth to do? And I started actually working on it more. And eventually I started realizing that I had wings and that I can have an impact on this earth by sharing my story. And not just sharing my story, getting people to realize that they are the creator of their story too, if they take ownership of it.
Okay.
So did some of that transpire from how you played basketball into do you see those similarities and correlation there?
Yes, because when you hit from college standpoint, because this is when I started getting to think different. When I got to college, high school, it was just a blur.
Mm-hmm.
When I got so my coach used to always make us do 3-on-3, only 2 dribbles. That's it. We only could dribble the ball twice. Okay. So that means you have to move without the ball. You can't just sit still, right? You got to score, backdoor cuts, and all this stuff. And the practice used to be so hard. Like we used to run. It used to be hot. He used to constantly make us run and a lot of stuff. And like we would have to, if you take charges, you can get liners off. So a lot of stuff that I come back to is like, okay, this situation that I'm in right now is not harder than what I dealt with in practice in college. So when I hit adversity, I go back to those moments of I can push myself. I can get better at it. So I just started working on myself. And also I had a regret of, what if I would have did better in basketball? What if I would have practiced more? What if I would have did a lot of stuff? Because we all sometimes we have regrets that I wish I should have, could have, and I don't want to have that. So I always go back to, let me see that I don't want to have a regret in finding my gift, but never reaching my highest potential of that.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you get over that, man? Because the thing is, we talk about this and we see it when we have our athletes on, and just our person. We both played with people that have played maybe a little bit longer in the game than us. That separation from the game is a hard one.
Yeah.
And you see either around it, like I know we went to what was it, the NFLPA like showcase, the last playoff game. It's kind of like a Senior Bowl.
Right.
Excuse me. And you just out there around it, you start getting that itch again. And then you know yourself that you were dedicated enough that you could have made it to the next step. So how did you reflect and say, okay, I found this gift, but though I know that the way I'm working hard in this craft, if I would have worked hard, I could have been in the league.
Yes. It goes back to spending time with you. It goes back to knowing what lane you're in. Like you can be around so many people, but if you don't have a strong foundation, you're just gonna get pushed. You're gonna continue to get beat up by the wind, and continue to get pushed over because you gotta have a strong foundation. And when that strong foundation is Jesus Christ for me. I can't speak for nobody else, but my foundation is Jesus Christ. For someone to go through all this adversity and also not knowing how to read until I was 22 years old, because right there, I didn't bring that up. So in smaller classes, you got teachers saying that you'll never, you're stupid, you're dumb, you'll never amount to nothing, you'll never make any contribution into this world. So you hear all that stuff, and you were good in sports, but all they thought was that's all you can do as a black human being. And to all that, for me to experience all that stuff, and then you look back at it like, because I used to believe I was stupid and dumb.
Well, yeah, if you got people telling you that, they're supposed to be your mentors, role models, your educators, your
100%.
the people uplifting you,
and they're tearing you down.
And they're tearing you down, or putting these plants,
Seeds.
the seeds, those negative seeds.
So how can you overcome that? Start talking back to yourself, and start every thought that is negative, you talk back to it saying that, no, that's not me. So we tend to actually hold on to what the past, but we never actually start looking forward to be like, hey, one foot after another. That's how you can get to success, by taking one foot at a time. It's a process. Everything's a process. We're surrounded in this world by everything that's instant gratification. That's how we get caught up in thinking that, okay, I want to be just like that person. But what we don't know is that person been through a lot that we don't know.
They don't show it on IG.
Exactly. And like I told you the other day when we was talking on the phone. See, everybody see the glory, but they don't know the story.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I realized that how can I get in this box and realizing that who am I, what's my purpose, and how can I get to where I want to get to? I can see it here, but I have to move and take action to get there.
Boy. No, that's definitely real talk, man. So sitting with yourself though, right?
Man,
Yeah.
How do you find clarity when sitting with yourself, right? Because we are our own worst enemies.
Yes.
As positive as I consider myself a positive person, I'm a realist too.
Right.
And life happens, shit happens, however you want to say it. So, I mean, what's the process of going through that?
Surrounding yourself with people that really care about you too. So as in like, you have everyone here has a few people that we really, really trust.
Okay.
And so when you vent and open up, that's why women can be around each other and vent. We were taught that guys don't gossip. And we as in sports too, we hold everything in. So everything that we hold in, we're actually just putting brick walls all around us, thinking that that's who we are.
Right.
But once we start venting to ourselves and also venting to people that we actually trust and believe, we'll start realizing that's not me. So we've been putting brick walls all around us, and we wonder why we act the certain way that we do, because we're so caught up in this person's opinion that we don't really even mess with, but we value their opinion more than we value ourselves.
Yeah.
And what was that turning point for you? Kind of like isolating yourself and saying, hey, obviously the teacher that doesn't validate me.
Right.
This validates me.
It took a while. Like it took a while, as in like when I got to college, my mom was like, you know what, we're gonna put you in tutoring class. It started with reading, because like I said, as an athlete, that's all I knew was playing sports.
And you got pushed through.
And mind you, my mom and my dad, my mom decided to stay in Florida, so I'm out here with my father and my brother.
Okay.
So I don't know what my dad's dealing with as an individual person.
Right.
I'm a young kid, so I'm not bold enough to be like, hey, pops, what's going on?
Right.
So I didn't have that. I didn't have that. My two older brothers, yeah, they like I said, everyone learns differently. Every single person learned differently. Some people might pick up things differently than some. But for me, it was a struggle for me to communicate. It was a struggle for me to understand things, but I kept it to myself.
That's a hell of a boulder to carry.
I kept it to myself. And so
That's a hell of a boulder.
When I got to this point to realize, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, let me I can express this, because I know people that's going through worse situation than I was. Being on food stamps, going to teammates' house to house, sleeping on a couch stuff
surfing.
like that. So, but no one knew that, because you couldn't. I didn't carry it with me. You couldn't tell I was going through that. Sports was my gateway to be like, okay, I can exhale and play the game. But no one knew that, and that's why what's behind your story is that how can you reach deep to actually connect with someone that you have no idea what they're going through, to hear their story, because they're going to relate and go back to what they've heard in the past, and they don't think they're good enough.
Man, that had to be hella humbling to be 22 and can't read.
Yeah.
And then like to dig in and know that this was something that was going to change your life. Who was around you to help push you through that, right? Because like that's a tough one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To know, like you said, to look at yourself and be like, hey, stuff's got to change. Like, like we gotta get this. So who was around you that helped you say like, look, I'm with you. We're gonna get through this. You mentioned your mom. I don't know if that was one of the people that kind of pushed that, but take me through that, man, because that's just amazing.
And when I say mom, I have like 4 moms.
Yes,
you know what I mean.
100%.
And so I can go back to a lady that, you know, her name is Shannon Sophia. She is my college my high school football coach's ex-wife.
Dope.
And she met me when I was a freshman in high school. And I can go, you know, Tony Matthews. I can go with, you know, Robin Gramley. So these people
Poured into you.
poured into me, but also they was actually giving me wings and giving me strength that I didn't even know at the time. And that's why the journey is a gift, because we don't know what's going on, and that's why you never judge a person for where they are in life, because you never know how far they've come. That's why when you look back, you're like, I've traveled that far, but I only got there by being around people that's going to uplift me when I fall.
Yes.
Stronger people, but also I kept moving too. And it's okay to actually give yourself a little credit. You know what I mean? And I don't think us as people, we do that enough.
Harp on that a little bit, because I don't think we do that enough as a people, as a black people. Just give ourselves more credit
In a humble way too.
No, I know exactly what you're saying.
Right.
But it's a lot of times day to day you can get beat up on by your job, you can get beat up on at home, you can get beat up on athletic field.
No, I feel you.
And, and there's not a lot of positive or uplifting of oneself. You know what I'm saying? So,
and I preach it, but I don't do it.
Exactly.
Because I tell people celebrate your wins, the small wins, but I don't do a great job.
And that's the crazy thing. You know, one of the books that opened up my mind, my sister got it for me, and this is like when I was starting like to learn how to read. It's called The 4 Agreements.
Okay. I love that book.
See, that right there was the, because all of us have keys.
Say it again for the people in the back. What's the name of that book?
The 4 Agreements.
Woo.
Because it talks about using impeccable words. We'll give love to everybody, but we'll never give powerful words for us.
Right.
Uplift us.
Right.
The most important conversation you'll ever have is with yourself.
Yeah.
Not with nobody else, it's with ourselves. What are we telling ourselves? You know what I mean? So use impeccable words. Don't make assumptions. Always do your best. And don't take nothing personal. We take a lot of things personal.
We do.
Because our emotions are tied to it.
Right.
You know?
And don't put emotions into it.
It's hard. It's hard. A challenge. It's a challenge. You look at a person, you're like, okay, because I'm always playing, life is a game. When I see people like my good friend, he was the first black-owned business just opened up in Salt Lake City just now.
Okay.
Right. And I'm looking at that. He was posting a couple of guys that I know went out there to celebrate with him. And
the barbershop?
Yes. And I look at that, me in the space that I'm in, I look at that, I'm like, yes, I'm inspired by that. But you'll have some people that look at the situation like,
hating.
Man, how he do that?
That sound effect, right?
But it's only just a barbershop, nigga, like, and it's or whatever, right?
And so you look at that situation, and you look at people. Why is that? That's that spirit you've been carrying since you was little, or your environment has put that on you, and you don't even know you're carrying it. You automatically just hate, and it's like there's enough out here for everyone to eat and to grow and to be successful. But when you are entitled by television, when you're entitled by people saying, "Oh, rich people are greedy," they are greedy, but at the end of the day, they're rich for a reason. You see what I'm saying? Because the mindset has to change. So we have to just understand that everything that comes out of our mouth that's negative, that is a seed.
Right.
And everything that comes out of our mouth that's positive, that's a seed. So we have to realize that at the end of the day, what energy are we putting out there to the universe? Positive or negative?
Like, I'm sorry, Paul George. Putting negative energy out there.
I mean, but facts is facts sometimes too, though, right? Like, it is what it is. Yeah. You got the quick hits, man?
I do, man. So these are kind of just quick, some random questions for you, Mike. Real quick. First time, if any time, that you've been starstruck?
Starstruck? Never.
Never?
Not starstruck. I just knew, okay, I went to the celebrity golf tournament in Salt Lake Tahoe. I was on the 18th hole. Michael Jordan just got done at the 17th hole. He's walking. I'm like literally right there where the 18th hole is.
Okay.
I've never been starstruck. I'll never be so. At the end of the day, we're all celebrities in our own rights.
Right.
Because you look it up, it says knowing the multitude of people. So right. So I see Jordan coming. The way that people like, I no wonder why he acts the way he do, because people are in his space 24/7. He can't move. So he actually cut through, and I'm like, that's crazy. These people act like that.
Yeah. And
it's like at the end of the day, he put on his shoes just like
just me. A human.
He's just a human.
We all bleed the same.
That's it. But I would say that story. I've never been starstruck. I'll shake your hand just like I'll shake somebody else. LeBron James' hand. They're just humans.
Okay.
They just got more zeros on their check account. It's real.
So this could be somebody dead or alive, but that you would like to sit down and hear their story, like over a dinner, over a plate of dinner or something like that.
Over dinner, dead or alive. Martin Luther King. Yeah, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X.
What was Martin's real name? Mike. Right.
Michael Jackson,
Ooh, okay.
Prince, Whitney Houston.
I want to have dinner with Whitney Houston.
Hey, positive.
I said I want to have dinner with Whitney Houston too.
Oh, I thought you
All
said
positive.
you wouldn't. I thought you said you wouldn't too. Thanks, producer.
It's all good. That's why you're asking me.
We
You-
just that
you about to
hate.
have
That
a-
hate was in.
Yeah,
that hate was
it
in your
was.
spirit.
It was.
I didn't say that. Now
You have a long. That's a full sit down dinner. You got the Last Supper. You got everybody. What's the next one? What you got?
All right, so we got to start one, Mike. You got to bench one. You got to cut one. This is basketball. This is all time.
Start one, bench one, or cut one.
Yep. You got Michael Jordan.
Uh-huh.
I heard you say Dwayne Wade,
Uh-huh.
and I'm gonna throw out the king, LeBron.
Who am I cutting?
Who you starting?
I'm
Who you
starting.
benching? Who you cutting?
Oh man. See you. Good one. I'm starting MJ.
Okay, no doubt about it. That's easy. That's left hand layup.
I obviously I have to cut D Wade because LeBron James is he can play all position, so I have to
Boom.
like that's my boy and all this stuff, but he plays the same position as MJ.
You know that.
And LeBron has to he can do everything, so I would have to cut D Wade.
Okay,
I
That's
love
like
you, D
saying
Wade.
it to his face because he's like a D Wade knockoff right there.
That's
I'm
fine.
not.
That's where I saw you at. I know where I saw you at. Now I know. Hey, go back. You remember when this was about 2 years ago? You remember when they had the little academy thing at Rancho High School?
I see.
And,
I knew.
And I said, "What's
I
up
saw
to you?" And I
D-
said, "You
yep.
like D Wade?" That's when I remember. That's where I remember you at.
See, look at that.
Shout out to D Wade.
Yeah, all
Shout
day.
out to
Achilles
connecting
showing.
people.
We need to, Mike. We need to get this to D Wade because I'm not sure what's going on with his blonde hair and all those type of things as well.
Oh, so he got
we
a
gotta
fist
get
in
there.
the back of it, though.
I don't care. We gotta talk to him about that.
Well, Stephen A. Smith called him Westing Stop off Total Recall.
Was it Total Recall when he was
Yeah.
It was Demolition
Demolition
Man.
Man.
It was
Yeah,
Demolition
yeah,
Man. Yeah, I was like, what Total Recall? Wow. All right, hit him up. We are going so off track. I love it.
That's funny.
That's hilarious.
That's funny.
Look at
Last
that.
one. Shout out to somebody on the basketball court. You kind of mentioned CJ, but somebody else that was like, okay, that's the real deal that you played in your career.
That I played against?
Yeah, that you played against. Doesn't have to be well known. Just somebody like, ooh,
It was a dude that went to Desert Pines named Nick Porter.
okay,
He was really good.
okay.
He actually went to Creighton.
What he was a guard?
He was just a combo guard. He was really good. I actually know him still. We actually stay in contact. But Nick Porter was really that dude, for sure.
Shout out to
Yes.
you, Nick.
Yes. Shout out to you, Nick.
All right, man. So let's get into this winner circle, man. This is where we talk about your platform, what you're pushing, what you're promoting, what you're doing out there for the good of the world.
Let's do it.
And it's great,
It
like
is, man.
how you've been speaking naturally, and I think that's what makes anything that you're doing the best
You're
when
right.
it comes passionately and organically.
Right.
And there's been multiple times that you said story, and I mean I led off, I teased it because I know where we were going, but organically you said that. So tell us about what's your story, the brand that you're creating.
Everyone has a story, but everyone has to be bold enough to actually know their story. But your story is not what your parents say it is.
Okay.
Your story is not what your friends say it is. Your story is actually digging in deep to find that person and bring that other person that's inside you out. Are you bold enough to do that? You're gonna face criticism, and that's okay. You're gonna have doubters. That's okay. People are gonna quit on you. That's okay. But can you actually bring that person out of you, spending time with yourself, getting to know yourself, and actually valuing the things that you value, not what people value? Because the crazy thing is that we value things.
Right.
We value cell phones, we value cars, we value houses,
Materialistic society, 100%.
but we don't value our heart, our spirit, and our mind, and that was given to us for free. We don't value that. That's crazy to me. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. So distractions is so much distractions out here, and that's for a good reason that people create the stuff like that, because this is just killing our brain.
Mm-hmm.
Technology, all this stuff, but you have to be control over this. Then this
Just
being control over you.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the thing. But it's just
I couldn't tell you a phone number right now if my heart depended on it.
right, and that's a challenge. But like I said, at the end of the day, I was bold enough to actually walk this walk. And the danger part is with this also, don't be quick to try to think that you can find yourself in somebody else. Because if you try to, what you don't know is that you're probably built better than that person.
Right.
And you probably went through more adversities and more situations than that person. But we also just automatically see people from the outside and judge them instead of actually seeing what their surface is in the inside.
Right.
Wow.
That's that behind what your story is. How can you take control of that pen and write your story how you want to?
So how are you helping people understand or share their story? Is that like, give me the overall kind of thing? Is it something where it's going to be a collection of narratives where you're allowing people to tell their story collectively, or are you just really doing it from a speaking standpoint to ignite them to want to understand that their story is something?
Yeah, their story is something, but they have. That's why when I go to these schools and talk to these kids, I rather deal with kids, young kids, than adults, because most of the adults already made up their mind that it's hard for them to actually retrace back to changing their thinking.
Yeah, you have to unlearn.
You have to unlearn. Yeah, whatever.
Deprogram.
Right, exactly. See, a guy told me once this. He said, "See, I can't get you to do anything that you don't want to do.
Facts.
But if you watch me close enough, if I can get you to think, I've done my part." See, that's the hardest thing to do, is to think. People are on autopilot 24/7.
All the time.
24/7. So when I talk to these kids, yes, I share my story and let them know the obstacles that I went through and the situation that I overcame. But also, how did I become the person that I am right now? I took action. But also, I didn't hold on to the story of these teachers saying I'm stupid and I'm dumb and I'll never amount to nothing.
Right.
I used to believe it for a long time, yes. But I said, wait, there has to be more to it. There's a yin and a yang for everything. There's an up and a down. There's a left and a right.
Right.
So when you can actually just, like I said, step away and look at the whole picture, because when you're in the picture, you can't see the picture.
Mm-hmm.
When you separate yourself in the picture and get outside the frame, then you can see the whole thing.
Nice. So, go ahead.
Yeah. How do, as you get kind of older, as we all get older, we kind of get callous in some ways. So, being that you talk to a lot of kids in the school systems, how do you get to their level now? You know what I mean? Because
That's a great one.
yeah.
How do I get to their level?
How do you come down to their level to talk to them, to say, hey, this is how, so they can kind of comprehend
Yeah,
it
can relate
and
to
then
it.
relate to it? Yeah.
Dumb it down a little, right?
Not
No, not
necessarily dumb it
necessarily.
around,
No.
just where they can digest it and apply it to what they're going through in their everyday life.
And receive it from you, right?
I'll say it like this. You know how we all used to hear it? You know how people used to always say, that kid's poor, right? Oh, that kid's poor. That kid don't have nothing.
I didn't hear it because they're probably talking about me, but
In reality, his parents are poor. He's just in the He's just in the situation that the parents is in.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, I got to change their perspective to let them know that you can't control your life when you're not an adult.
Right.
That's not your fault. Whatever situation and whatever
That's
circumstances
dope.
that you're in,
That is dope.
you can't control that.
Mhm.
That you're just in your parents' situation. You can't control that.
Mhm.
But as you become an adult and you start realizing that, what do you want? Like at the end of the day, I ask the kids, what do you want to be? Because people always say, well, you got to wait till you're an adult to be this. You got to be. No, you don't. Start visualizing it now.
Right.
Start seeing yourself doing it.
absolutely.
Meditate. Think about that stuff. Like actually write that down and see it, because you only can retain so much up here. But if you write it down and you visualize, you see it, that the body and the spirit's gonna move towards that. Because if you don't have a target, what are you aiming at?
Right.
That's a good one. So, part of your story, you mentioned that going to Seneca, it was
Sierra College.
Sierra, excuse me.
Yeah, Seneca.
Seneca Wallace. Why
Yeah,
not?
Seneca Wallace. Yeah.
Anyway.
That's my guy.
Shout out to Seneca. Anyway, when you went to college, you chose it and you had a great coach.
Yes.
how many coaches influenced you? How many of them were black? And where do you see, the plight that we're dealing with from the lack of black coaches?
My coach at Sierra was Italian,
Oh, okay.
and then my freshman football coach, still to this day and still is in my life, he is white, Caucasian. From a standpoint of black coaches, it was a great coach that I knew. He was never really my coach, but I was around him. Like, his name is Coach Ross.
Here in Vegas.
He was
Okay.
here in Vegas. He actually was at Clark when I was a freshman, but I played JV. He was coaching varsity. He was coaching freshmen. He taught me some things, but like I said, and now I get to a point that in life I connect with everybody. I don't judge because I don't know it all. I don't want to know it all. Mm-hmm. That's why there's resources and there's people that you can connect with. Like there's vibration that every person has. There's low vibration, middle vibration, and high vibration. And with the kids, back to your point, asking with the kids, what vibration are you at? And if you're in a high level of vibration, you're going to attract more people that's on the same level of you. But if you're on a low vibration, you're going to attract more people in a low vibration. And that's just how we are as humans. We gravitate towards people that what matches our energy, mm-hmm. right? And so with the coaches, you say how can more black coaches get out there?
Yeah, because I mean, so you talking through your career, you didn't have any that influenced you, and it's like I get what you're saying from a standpoint that you relate and you can learn and grab something from everyone.
Yes,
but I do think that there's a need for that to have that, because we did mention or talk about when people are planting those negative seeds and you're not being able to see like that black coach or that
John Thompson.
Yeah, like what we all know what he's done.
Yes.
Like, I remember Miles and I were talking, like, you thought that was a HBCU right. for what he did, for that school and for those players that came through.
Right.
So, like, I just think there's a need for it, and I didn't know what your stance was or how you felt about that.
Yes, there's a need for it, but also it's just crazy how, us as black people, how the world has put us in a box of, there's less people growing up in their household with a father. And even though that might not be your responsibility or your own child, it takes all of us as collectively to spread the energy and to spread the love to our own young brothers that's growing up too.
100%.
Because we're coaches in our own rights. You know what I mean? So when we see, like for instance, my barber, a quick story. My barber was he was at the mall the other day, right? He was at the mall the other day. He sees a young fella sagging his pants, right? About 16 or 17 years old. Comes up to him, hey, young fella, man. Hey, pull your pants up, man. You better than that. You represent us too, man. Pull your pants up. Young fella pull his pants up. My barber don't know his father's in there. Father comes up to my barber and says, don't you ever talk to my son like that again. There goes the problem.
Yeah,
because at the end of the day, our own people, us as a culture, as people, we have to hold ourselves accountable too. Like I don't care what any other culture is doing. We have to hold ourselves accountable. We see a kid sagging their pants, we have to call it out. We have to. We have to look out for each other, because a coach told me one time, if I got you doing a drill and I see you doing it wrong, and if I don't correct you, I'm a terrible coach. We as people that don't have to be my kid, but we have to start taking criticism in the right way and stop acting like we can't say nothing, because at the end of the day, they think all of us act the same.
So whose fault was it? The barber or the father?
I think the father, 100%.
I don't think so.
No?
Nah. We just talked about speaking, setting seeds, sowing seeds. If he didn't know any better, he thought that, like, I'm my man. You don't tell me how to raise my father. Raise my son. So if the barber is spitting game to a kid, he should be able to respectfully spit game to the guy's father. So the father had some kind of issue with how he was speaking with him, whatever, and he should have been like, oh, no disrespect. I just know, could have gave him a lesson, right? Like, why people started sagging, right? Because when they were in the jail cells, that's how they told people that they were inviting people to take that booty.
That's negative. How it started is back in the days, the white man, it was slavery. The person would drop his pants down to get whooping by the white man. The people that was enslaved as is us.
To drop their pants, but to sag
to get
in the jail
right
is where sagging came from.
Sagging came from, I'm telling you, slavery, when the white man will whoop you and the person will actually put their pants down to get ready to get whooped.
And agree to disagree, or you may have lesson on that. But at the end of the day, both of those are negative connotations.
Right.
so if you have that knowledge and if you're sharing with them, both of those things are things that kid should want. He should want to get taken in the booty, and he should want to get hit by a slave master, right? So it should be to educate, because I think if you're talking about planting seeds,
right,
that's how you plant a seed. So he's like, hey, I'm sorry, brother, I didn't mean to talk to your kid this way. This is what, why I was suggesting that, because it's not a good look, man, blah, 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 and keep it moving.
100%. But at the end of the day, see, because we don't control who's our family members, and we don't control our environment when we come into this world, right? Our environment, we don't control that because we're in this bubble, okay? When we're created, none of us created where we was born at growing up in our environment. So so our environment usually shapes us, right? Mm-hmm. We see things. Before I got adopted, I used to see my environment I seen most of our peoples sagging their pants. When I got adopted to my new family, Mike, put your pants up. What?
Right.
It took me a while to understand that. But what I'm saying is, if I was to grow a relationship with all three of you guys and we become close, if my daughter and my son comes in here right now and you guys spit game to them, and I know it's coming from a good place, because the kid pulled his pants up. So the kid knows what's right and what's wrong.
100%.
So what I'm saying is the father's in wrong, because no matter what, he should have asked the son, hey, what did that guy just say to you? That's taking yourself out of trying to be a father and defend your son all the time. But look at the situation like, obviously he told him something and that was beneficial, and he should have been like, that's game. And our people, we get defended by everything that we do. And that's all I'm trying to say. You're not wrong for what you say, but at the end of the day, we have to look out for ourselves more and understand that we have to educate ourselves in finance. We have to educate ourselves in being, entrepreneurs, and know that we could be more than just sports. We have to educate ourselves to hold ourselves accountable, because our habits create our future. Our habits.
100%. I think my dad used to say, it's a saying in the church I used to grow up in, that it takes the village to raise them. And sometimes that always doesn't come from your biological parents or even your parents at any day. It just comes from a village. So I think us as a people, we do have to do a better job of uplifting each other. But not taking it in a way, because a lot of nowadays people are just sensitive in every area. 100%.
You know what I'm saying? Growing up in sports, coach used to be like, what goes on between these four walls is between us. That's it.
Right.
Nowadays, kids are like telling their mom that he talked to me this kind of way. It's like, what?
Back to the 4 agreements. Don't take it personal.
So exactly. But a lot of people, your parents are telling you you're good, and your coach saying you're not that good, because he's trying to challenge you and stretch you and grow you. You got to go through adversity. LeBron went through adversity. Kobe went through adversity.
Right.
MJ went through adversity. To be great, you have to go through adversity.
And
guess who's going through adversity right now? Giannis.
Definitely.
So that's
Big
what I'm
adversity.
saying. That's what I'm saying. So at the end of the day, we have to understand that we have to take in control of stop thinking that, put it on the world to be our teacher, and have our parents and people that we love be our teacher also.
And you gotta be humble with it as well.
Yeah.
I learned humility through my dad. Right. The pastor in the church would ask, "Hey, my dad, go do something." He'll do it. My dad would hustle to go do it. So I learned, you gotta be humble in life. And my dad is the king in my life, right? But I saw him be humble to somebody else.
Right.
So I learned humility through him. So.
Right.
That's dope. All right, so talk to us. Where can they reach you? Learn, what's your story? Please put your social media out there for them. We're going to definitely put in the show notes, but tell them how they can contact you. We have your IG, your personal IG on the screen, but
yes.
just shout it out really quick where they get in touch with you.
_ Mike Philogene at IG, Mike Philogene Facebook, Mike Philogene LinkedIn. You guys can find me. What's Your Story 1? You can find me also on there. And like I said, I stay on the same lane. It's basic, simple stuff. I'm not trying to use big words to make me, smarter than you or anything like that. How can you get to point A to point B?
Absolutely.
By taking action, because you can dream all day, you can see what you want all day, but if you're not getting up to take action, it ain't never going to work. And you got to believe in yourself more than anybody else, period.
Well, you was already giving game, but so here we go. The last thing, because, time flies when you're having fun. This portion we like to call the assist, so where you can drop a coaching gem, words to live by, a mantra, or inspirational quote. So just a real quick story or quote or something that you live by. Drop the assist.
Would you rather be at war with yourself and at peace with the world? Or would you rather be at peace with yourself and at war with the world?
That's a conundrum right there. That's something you got to sit with yourself on that one.
And one more, I'll say this: a good soldier prepares for war in the time of peace. You don't wait. You don't wait. You don't wait for the war to happen to start getting prepared.
Boom, dropping bombs. That's what's up. Well, hey, just like we always do, these things fly so fast. I hope you enjoyed the show. We want to thank our guest Mike, man, for tapping in today, man. Appreciate you. And just we want to thank the people, man. We hope you enjoyed today's show. A lot of nuggets in there, man. A lot of stuff to just soak up and spend some time with yourself. Please give us feedback on what you heard tonight or, what you want to hear. We're Black in Sports on all social media platforms, and we're Black in Sports Podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Don't forget, man, we drop the Locker Room every Tuesday. That's our short format stuff where we talk about different topics. We've been getting some great feedback about Steve Nash, so we just dropped that. But just know, stay safe, practice gratitude, and know we're rooting for you.
Screaming, all us blacks got is sports and entertainment until we even.
Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Yeah. Yeah. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Yo. Look. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Spent about 2 racks on handmade new rags. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. That's everybody from sports to college class to rap.